War is chaos. And as we saw yesterday with the tragic crash of our KC-135 tanker, bad things can happen.
Yeah, bad things do happen, increasingly so when you decide to start a war for literally no reason. And I'm glad that the Secretary of Defense there at least acknowledged these deaths. He continues to refuse to take seriously the fact that we bombed that school full of little girls. But as he was alluding to there, yes, an air refueling plane did crash in Iraq. And the story's been developing over the night. The number of dead has gone up. We were told originally 4, now it's at 6. That brings the official number of American dead in Donald Trump's war of choice in Iran to 13. And Cenk, you heard that first clip that it's just up to Trump's bones, I guess, to decide when this conflict is over. Do you think there's any chance hitting 13 dead will give him that feeling in his bones?
No. I mean, maybe his bone spurs, but so look, a lot of folks have passed away already, 13 Americans, but we also have details John's going to give you about the number of ships that have been hit. We've now lost 4 planes, and nevertheless, the administration is telling us this is super easy. Now, at the same time, they're also sending in ground troops. So, John will give you the facts on the damage, then we'll come back and talk about the ground troops.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable for us to talk primarily about none of them needed to die and wouldn't have died if not for Donald Trump. But let's bear in mind, you know, there's been 11 Israelis that have been who have died in Lebanon thanks to the cover this war has provided. More than 100 children have died in the Israeli bombardment there, so there's a lot of deaths to go around. Coincidentally, I acknowledged this on the air this morning, 13 American dead we've now hit. That is the number of American service members that died in Biden's pullout from Afghanistan. And that number, we were told at the time, was an utterly unacceptable number of dead. And the Republicans hammered Biden about it for literally years. And I hear crickets now about it. Can't even lift themselves up to criticize Donald Trump. And that was to get out of it. This is to stay in one for reasons that he can't articulate. So let's talk now about how these most recent American soldiers were killed by Donald Trump's war. According to the U.S. Central Command, the incident occurred in friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury, and rescue efforts are ongoing. 2 aircraft were involved in the incident. One went down in western Iraq, the other landed apparently in Israel, and we are told that it was not due to hostile fire. Understandably so, this was far away from hostilities or even friendly fire, which of course has been an issue in this conflict already. Now, here is what we are hearing from Iran. So our side is saying it wasn't as a result of fire. The Islamic Resistance in Iraq is an umbrella group of Iran-backed armed factions. They claimed responsibility for downing military refueling aircraft. The group said in a statement it had shot down the KC-135 aircraft in defense of our country's sovereignty and airspace. And if you're not familiar with this type of plane, it's a big refueling plane. Basically, it refuels other planes in midair so that they can conduct longer or further missions. The plane is also used to transport wounded personnel during medical evacuations and conduct surveillance missions. It's not like a combat plane, but it's a support plane that operates outside of the immediate theater. And it would be considered rare for them to be shot down because they're just not close by. And so it's entirely possible that this group this is bravado. They want to claim that they've done more damage than they did, so they're saying that. Or it's possible that they did actually shoot it down. We don't know for sure. We do know that the planes were quite old. These particular tankers have been in service for more than 60 years, and there have been other fatal crashes with KC-135s in the past. There was one back in May of 2013, so it's possible it's just another, unfortunate incident like that tragically resulted in multiple deaths. Now, on the other side, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper confirmed that they had hit over 5,500 targets inside of Iran, including more than 60 ships. But that said, Iran still has the capability to do damage. They're not shooting down our jets or anything like that, but they have hit at least 16 oil tankers, cargo, and other commercial ships in or near the Strait of Hormuz. That continues every day. Every day we're told they have the situation under control. Every day Trump tells them to just have guts, and Hegseth says, we've got it on lockdown, trust me. That's literally what he said. And every day more get hit. And it's clear that that is a big part of the strategy of Iran. The new Ayatollah, who might or might not have been hit in a strike in the last 24 hours, stressed that these attacks will continue, saying the leverage of blocking the Strait of Hormuz must also continue to be used. Studies have been conducted regarding the opening of other fronts in which the enemy has little experience and will be highly vulnerable, and their activation will be carried out if the state of war continues and in accordance with strategic considerations. And they say also that they're going to avenge the blood of those who were killed in the school bombing. It's entirely possible, Cenk, that's more bravado. I don't know what strategies they're referencing there, but we do know that if and when they send in ground troops, and there's reason to believe that that's likely to happen, Iran's a big country with a lot of people, incredibly mountainous. It feels like kind of like a worst case scenario of all the worst parts of Iraq and Afghanistan all balled into one. So what do you think?
Yeah, let me give more facts and then I'll get into my opinion. We've got now 4 planes that we've lost. I can't tell either if the last plane was shot down and we're lying about it, or they just had a near collision midair and one of the planes fell, another one landed in Israel. But either way, when you start a war, are you going to lose some planes? Of course. Are you going to lose some American service members? Of course. So that's not of course, so that's a good thing. That's of course, so don't start the war, because it's guaranteed. It's baked in. And we're talking about $2 billion a day that we're spending on this war. We talked about that yesterday. Now Scott Bessent says, oh, by the way, it's caused another $11 billion in damage to the American economy. So now the 11.8 billion was in the first 6 days. Now we're at day 14. So if I'm doing the math right, we're already at about $35 billion in costs for this war in the first 2 weeks. And as far as I know, that does not count the 4 planes we lost or the munitions that we used. So that is a tremendous cost to America. And the cost to our service members are incalculable, infinite to their families, and there's going to be a lot more of them as we begin to tell you about the ground troops. And already we've spent a gigantic amount of money, and of course this is all for Israel's war. We have no interest in them, and Trump has said 1 billion times, we destroyed their whole Navy, their whole Air Force, all their land minesweepers, and their ballistic missiles and their regime. Then what are we still doing there? So we know what we're doing there. Israel wants regime change, and they want it to be specifically their own puppet. A little bit later in the program, I'll tell you what their latest trick is to reel us into ground troops. So now in terms of the ships that have been hit in the Strait of Hormuz, it was 6 the day before, then it jumped to 16. And Trump was speaking to the G7 leaders, and he says, we got it all figured out. Strait of Hormuz is going to be cleared. No problem, you can send your ships through. 2 more ships got hit after he told the G7 leaders that. That night they were on fire, right? So we don't have anything under control. Our president is an enormous liar, totally delusional, and has absolutely no idea what's going on. Again, we'll talk more about that a little bit later in the show. Now, to update John's numbers, last I saw, 14 Israelis killed. They say 2,000 injured. In Lebanon, we've got over 600 civilians last I checked, but again, all these numbers are going to go up dramatically when the new numbers come in closer to nighttime. So every day we wake up to a new nightmare. And by the way, the Lebanon thing is, Israel had planned to invade Lebanon all along, and now they've moved out 800,000 to 1 million people. They made them refugees, and they're bombing all over Lebanon. And that's because they had always planned to take territory in the middle of this war. This is all about Israel's agenda. It has nothing to do with us. If we had any objectives, Donald Trump has now told us 1,000 times we've already accomplished that. So we should leave immediately. Okay, now to my opinion. along with leaving immediately, time is not our friend, guys. That's why I say immediately. So we're number one, the longer we go, the less defensive missiles we have. People keep sleeping on that, they keep forgetting about that. But part of the reason or for the new wave that I'm about to tell you that's coming in is because we need more defensive missiles. And that's just after 2 weeks. And we remember, we use a quarter of our defensive missiles for our entire stock in the earlier 12-day war. We have not had time to replenish them. Now, if we're going at the same pace as that 12-day war, that means another quarter of our defensive missiles are gone. We only have half left. If I understood the reporting right, of our entire arsenal, what are we gonna do when we don't have any defensive missiles left? They take a long time to build. They cost about $4 million. Iranian drones only cost $35,000. And the Strait of Hormuz, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get it open at all. So now oil prices are back to skyrocketing, even though, again, later in the show, we're gonna tell you about how we're saying, okay, Russian sanctions, we didn't mean it. You just put in all the oil. When we put in, what I think $178 million from our reserves, 32 other countries put in $400 million barrels from their reserves. And so now, and by the way, that was all of a record release, totally unprecedented in history, and oil prices still went up. That's how bad this is, right? So the Iranians say they're gonna try to drive it to $200 per barrel, which would be, it'd be $10, $12 for a gallon of gas in America. I mean, and this is just an epic disaster in every way. Now, you saw Donald Trump say there in the first clip, this war will be over when I feel it. What is that? What is it? I mean, what a moronic president. You say, I don't know, I feel it. What does I'll feel it mean? What is our objective? The G7 leaders asked Trump, okay, yes, but what's your goal? Because now a lot of us are in this war. What is our collective goal? When do we know it's over? He said he didn't know. Oh, come on, man. And then to John's point about crickets, John, you know, there's a lot we're not talking about in national media, right? Or they're not talking about in traditional media, establishment media. Number one, no one's talking about the invasion of Lebanon. Like, that's just apparently normal. Like, oh yeah, Israel's going to take more land from their neighbors and slaughter them. That's okay, that's okay, that's totally normal. No, it's not. It's outrageous and disgusting and unbearable. I saw a video of a 3-year-old who was murdered by the Israelis in this bombing campaign. I mean, go watch those 3-year-olds murdered by the Israelis and tell me that it's normal. It's not normal at all. And then in terms of the Democrats, where the hell are they? I did couldn't help myself, did a furious live video about it this morning. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries are like, I don't know if they're with Savannah Guthrie's mom, but they're missing. I don't know, let's do a search party. I don't know where they are. But honestly, John, other than Ro Khanna, I don't see any Democrat fighting back. A little bit of Chris Murphy, a tiny smidge of Ruben Gallego. I don't see AOC's nowhere to be found. Squad's nowhere to be found. Progressive Caucus is nowhere to be found. We need to put out search parties for 98% of the Democratic Party.
Well, I mean, John Fetterman is out there fighting against investigations into the girls we slaughtered. So he's fired up, I guess. That's something. But anyway, yeah, no, the entire thing's frustrated. But what would we have expected from Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries? They haven't done anything for over a year now. Why are they gonna start now? Especially when this isn't a thing they necessarily disagree with Trump all that much on. There's been past things where at least I buy that they kind of disagree. I don't know that they necessarily disagree with any of this. Because sure, it's a failure for us, and I think, look, I said relatively early on that Donald Trump was giving off major lame duck things. That was maybe a bit early. I'm gonna say we lost this war. I mean, we lost it before we launched it because the military told Trump that his stated goals, which are constantly changing, were not gonna happen. You were not gonna get regime change by bombing them. That's not a thing that was gonna happen. You were not gonna be able to secure the Strait of Hormuz. It's not a thing that's going to happen. And he decided to do it anyway. And so I think that we lost because we could never win. He was never gonna get what he said he wanted. Even though what he says he wants changes constantly. I even heard him talk about the Iranian people and how it's important for them to be free. I haven't heard him talk about that in a long time. time. Lots of people in his administration are talking about nuclear weapons. Like, you can't see a Republican on Fox News without them talking about it. Donald Trump barely even talks about that anymore. He just talks about how it's awesome that we're killing them and that, oh, tomorrow we're going to hit them even harder. He just announced next week we're going to hit them really hard. And I think that's a good idea. We should try that. We probably should have tried that on day one, actually. So it isn't just that the war is stupid and that it's failing, but Donald Trump also, and the Republicans around him, are so much worse at the comms side of this than they used to be. He's not selling the war, a war that on day one was less popular than any military engagement that America has engaged in the better part of 50 years. All the Republican senators are rushing to TV to tell everyone to shut the hell up about gas prices. It's a sacrifice you should willingly make when you voted against more wars, and they think that's a winning message. And meanwhile, who's winning? Well, Israel's getting everything they want. They get to kill some Iranians. They get the air defenses taken out, so if they want to do further missions, they'll be a little bit safer. They get cover to invade Lebanon, steal a little bit more land. Obviously, Vladimir Putin is doing well because he's going to make absolute bank off of gas prices going up. So I guess they're doing well. The American people, once again, are getting the shaft. That's what it feels like, Jay.
Well, that's what it feels like is definitely true. Now, speaking of that, let's go to the escalation that has been ordered. Both Wall Street Journal and Axios reported right before showtime. Several more warships are headed to the Gulf, more F-35s, and most importantly, 5,000 ground troops, Marines and sailors, and you don't send ground troops unless you're going to use them. So all that talk of like, oh, no. Red line is ground troops. Oh, this is going to be easy. It's going to be like Venezuela. We're just going to bomb them. We're going to annihilate them. We're so cool and manly. Then we're going to do some push-ups. Well, you've done all your push-ups, and now you're sending in ground troops just like we told you they would. Okay, so there are two reasons they're going to use it as an excuse. Going forward, you will see this all over your television, and when you see it, you'll know that there's a script ahead of time. None of this is true. It's scripted theater. They're going to start telling you about, oh my God, the uranium is dispersed throughout Iran. There's no way we can get it unless we have ground troops. Do you want nukes? If you don't, like, we're all going to die of nuclear war unless we put in ground troops and get the uranium. Now, do they have nuclear weapons? No, not at all. Not at all. But they're going to pretend that they do. And they're going to say, well, there's some enriched uranium. We have no idea where it is in a country 4 times the size of Iraq. But I guess we're going to have to put in a lot of ground troops to try to find it. And then they're going to talk about the Iranian religious police. There's a group there. And they say, well, you know, they're against gay people. And Trump started talking about it today. You would like to protect the gay people of Iran, and that's why you're going to put in ground troops? And women, they're constantly beating and raping women. Here we go again with the rape, right? Meanwhile, Israel just let out 5 guys who raped Palestinian prisoners in their gulags on tape. We saw it, right? And the Israelis are like, congratulations. One of them is now like being celebrated on television, being like, yes, way to rape the Palestinians, right? I'm not making it up, guys. You can see it there's video of it on Israeli television. There's no question that they let him go. But meanwhile, we have propaganda about, oh, the Iranians are raping their own women. So the only way to beat these police in Iran is to do ground troops. Wait, are we going to fight all of the police in Iran? And are we still pretending that this is for the Iranian people as we drop bomb after bomb on top of their heads? So, John, this is about to get way, way worse.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. No, I mean, we kept, and I'll end on this. We kept saying when they sent all the ships, massive armada, they did it to Venezuela, and we said they're not doing that unless they're going to use it. And then they did it in Iran, and we said they're not going to do it unless they're going to use it. And we were proven right both of those times. They're not sending 5,000 Marines just to take, great pictures off the side of a ship or something. They're sending there to land them. And so, we're going to get another test of a more significant swap to the American public who were vocally against this war before. Now we're going to have ground troops. We're going to see if finally we get some popular opposition to this. There should be massive groups of people in the streets. Why are there not protests like there were in the invasion in Iraq? When at least they had a little bit of good propaganda around that. They're not even trying this time.
You know,
we
John,
barely even seen it.
I have an answer for that. It's because the Democratic leaders have betrayed us. And so a lot of times those groups that organize the protests work with Democrats, and they're just stooges for the Democrats. So if the Democrats say don't protest it, they don't do it. So they're all sitting on their hands waiting for permission from Chuck Schumer, who actually loves this war and is so happy we launched it on behalf of his beloved Israel. And then he's going to say during the elections, him and Jeffries, even as they stuff their pockets and their mouths full of Israeli lobby money, they're going to turn around and go, we were opposed to the war, when in reality they were totally 100% in favor of it. And prove me wrong. Get on TV and fight against the war. I've seen none of it from them. None of it. Giant liars. And oh wow, it turns out 94% of Congress taking money from the Israeli lobby was relevant. Mainstream media told you, it's not relevant. Those politicians are so honorable, they would never care about that.
Yeah.
Look at them, all of them, either outwardly or secretly totally in favor of this war because they were paid to be in favor of the war by the Israeli lobby. And that's how this game is played in America. It's sick, it's disgusting, and the number one thing you should do is get money out of politics. Otherwise, foreign governments and corporations are gonna buy our politicians to the end of time. And in the short term, vote out all of the incumbents. Unless their name is Ro Khanna or Tom Massey, or you could show me exactly how they fought this war, vote out all the bums because they're totally against you. They've totally betrayed you and they're working for a different country. Plus the defense contractors, plus the oil companies. All their donors are ecstatic. That's why the Democrats aren't fighting at all. And that's why the Republicans are driving you further and further into this war where more of us are gonna get killed and they're gonna celebrate in Washington and they're gonna celebrate in Tel Aviv. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.
Now you can swear that you're not a galaxy.
Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube. Look, smash that like button. Let's get this video to like 20,000 likes. Look, we got an amazing story here today. Y'all been wanting me to cover, but I just needed a little bit more time so we can put these details together and line them up. Don't skip a thing, you will get lost in the sauce. I needed certain outlets to jump out there and hang themselves, so that it just makes this video a lot better so we can fully understand the manipulation and what's been going on. But look, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just trying to show you the possibilities of this world that we live in. But look, man, if y'all on this journey with me, go ahead, subscribe, share these videos with your friends and your families, and just know if you're going through a tough time, you're not in it by yourself. We're going through this thing called life together. Let's get it.
Florida man claims to have been kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. Let's talk about it. So Lee County Sheriff Department reported early one Monday morning of a man soaking wet on the shoulder of the beach, drawing blueprints in the sand. He was severely dehydrated and very disoriented. And what he told these deputies was he was taken against his will by a pod of dolphins and forced to work underwater with them and build these cities. So basically this big underwater construction project. And the man claimed that the dolphins approached him while he was swimming on the beach one day. And they escorted him to a site that was 40 feet below the surface, where they needed help building structures. And what I find interesting is that he told the deputies that basically the dolphins communicated him through a series of clicks. Now, y'all know it is actually very illegal to communicate with dolphins. It is said that dolphins hold secrets, of ancient secrets, and there is a way that you can, communicate with dolphins. Dolphins are very highly intelligent animals. And he basically said that the leader that was orchestrating this whole project name was Gerald, and that Gerald is what helped him breathe underwater. He said Gerald handled the breathing for him, which I'm assuming with like some type of air pocket or air bubble. But like I mentioned before, he had drawn an elaborate blueprint in the sand when he had returned to surface. And the deputies described the blueprints to be a little concerning. It looked like cities, towns, condos. And the man basically said the Dolphins were satisfied with his work, you know, his 3-day work of underwater construction. So they sent him back and they were like, we'll be back to get you for phase 2, because they're not done yet. And the crazy thing is, they was, you know, they sent him to the hospital and he was just dehydrated, but there was no trauma to the head. There was no signs that he was, you know, delirium or anything. Like, there was nothing going on with his mental. Like, he was perfectly fine. But the weirdest thing of all this, they did several tests on him, of course. So they found seawater and marine particles in his lungs, which puzzled the doctors because that suggested that he had extended exposure to seawater without typical lung damage. So what they found was basically information that let him know that he was very deep in the water and he didn't have any type of lung damage. And like I said, he said he was down there for 3 days. And another crazy thing about this whole thing is this man has a master's in aerospace engineering, and he has previously worked on deep sea technology projects. So it was like the Dolphins knew that this man was a very experienced engineer that has worked in the deep sea. I don't care what y'all say. Some people trying to say it's a hoax, it's all made up. But it's literally facts that there was so much stuff in his lungs that showed that he was underwater for a long period of time with no lung damage. But this whole thing is so interesting. Everybody knows that dolphins are in cahoots with the sirens and the mermaids. I feel like they're trying to build some type of underwater kingdom for them. But this is crazy, y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comments if y'all heard about this.
There are more than 10 known Anunnaki reptilian hybrid species described in the Emerald Order teachings, but they all trace back to one original bloodline, the fallen angelic Jehovian Anunnaki alien extraterrestrials, which are bipedal dolphin people seeded by the wicked Anu Elohim feline aquatic apes. It is these Jehovian Anunnaki who are being worshipped as Yahweh, Jehovah, Father God in Judaism and Christianity, and as Allah in Islam. Jehovian Anunnaki run the Galactic Federation, Ashtar Command, and are also associated with Metatron, Enoch, the Urantia Book, Course in Miracles channeling, Templar Melchizedek Mormon texts, Tibetan creeds, and Kabbalah.
I think Ricky Hollowell just answered why it's illegal to talk to dolphins. So Ricky Hollowell just showed up and said he was kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build on the water, you know? What? But the more we learn about Ricky, the more his story is starting not to sound so crazy. So a little bit about Ricky's background. Ricky has a degree in MIT, and he worked for a decade at a company called Lockheed Martin, which I had to Google because I didn't know what the hell that was. Turns out that's an aerospace and defense program. And he specializes in advanced composite materials and submersive vehicles designed for deep sea exploration. Now, when Ricky left the hospital, it was concluded that he had no drugs, no alcohol in the system. He had no head trauma. He was, for lack of a better word, fine. But I'll tell you what they did find in this system. A routine x-ray and fluid examination found a trace amount of Gulf water in his lungs, specifically saline matching samples that are found 50 or 60 feet offshore. Or they found microscopic samples of diatom and plankton residue.
We'll now begin the push-up section.
You understand? This is not consistent with, brief drowning or aspiration swimming. This is almost like his lungs were exposed to a large amount of water for a long period of time. Almost like he was breathing water. There was no inflammation, there was no damage. And all this is coming from a professional analysis, not from me. Is this why they made it illegal for us to talk or interact with dolphins? I don't know. There's got to be something though, right? Well, Ricky, you definitely own to something, brother.
You gotta think about that, man. Like, okay, this is not your average person. That's what I get from it. This is not your average person. This is not your average crazy person. All of a sudden, he's just crazy. I think it's definitely a real reason why, because people used to give birth in amongst the dolphins, and the dolphins somehow help assist. bringing life into this planet by coming out the so-called portal of the mother. And they stopped it. We can't communicate with the dolphins. We've heard the scientists say that the dolphins are extremely intelligent beyond our wildest beliefs, and that they're somehow connected like a hive mind. I did a video yesterday and they were talking about the quantum realm, and they said if we can speak, when we learn how to speak to ants, then they would, you know, show themselves type shit. Okay, if learning how to speak to ants communicate how? Through pheromones. Pretty much, you know, they can communicate like a hive mind as well. They tell us that we're what? We're collective consciousness. A hive mind, right? That's why I always say we all have the bits and pieces. Somehow all of this stuff lines up, and they want to keep us from the information. Just like, you know, the 5G towers and stuff like that. It interrupts our biofields and our communications. So therefore, everybody thinks that us speaking telepathically and us having a higher abilities that we can't tap into is crazy, because you can't, because it's being suppressed. But let's get back to it though.
A social media post is going viral claiming a Florida man was kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. And Lee County deputies found him wandering near the Sanibel Causeway. Well, it all turned out to be a hoax, but the post is gaining traction online.
Gulf Coast News reporter Mohammed Abdulkawi is taking a deep dive into why someone would make a post like this.
You know, when you see a camera on the beach, people will come up to you and ask you, what are you doing? Well, I'm telling people, yeah, we're doing the story. A person literally posted on Facebook saying that a man kidnapped by dolphins. Like, come on, like, can you believe that? Well, here's what the police report says. So, a fake report is claiming that this man was kidnapped by dolphins to build an underwater city here in Lee County. The Sanibel Causeway and Fort Myers Beach was on it as well. The post now has the attention of the Lee County Sheriff's Office. This post has thousands of likes and shares online. You've probably seen it at least once.
It's gotta be fake, or the guy's on something terrible.
A post claiming a Florida man was arrested after someone found him soaking wet and drawing blueprints in the sand along the Sanibel Causeway. It goes on to say the man claimed he was kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. It's clearly not real, but the post says that Lee County deputies were involved.
They're just looking for clicks. Somebody's wasting their time.
It would be cool. It'd be cool to have a little underground water city built by dolphins, but it's total fantasy. It's like there's no way it's going to happen.
We wanted to find out, why would someone fabricate a post like this? John Joyce, the CEO of CRS Technology Consultants in Fort Myers, says people do it for attention.
And the whole idea is to get a thing in as many hands as possible, to drive traffic, to drive clicks, to drive their own, you know, air quotes, news source, whatever that might be, all intended to get attention, because at the end of the day, any kind of viral post can drive enough traffic to turn into dollars.
We reached out to this Lee County Sheriff's Office. They told us they never arrested the man mentioned in this post, and the deputy in the story doesn't exist.
If it'd be anybody, it'd be my husband, because he's so interested in dolphins, he would try to grab a hold of one. And, you know, maybe we should hang out and see if the dolphin comes back.
Now, the moral of this story is that you should always make sure you fact check to make sure you're not spreading any false information like we just did with the Lee County Sheriff's Office earlier today about the story. But for now, reporting live here in Lee County, I'm Mohammed Abdulkawi, Gulf Coast News.
And this is just proof that mind control is real.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pain for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers. We may have to deal with that in the short term. Short-term and temporary.
Temporary, short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain. Short-term.
You have to understand that media is mind control. And no, this is not no conspiracy theory reach. Studies in cognitive psychology have shown that if a person hears a statement repeatedly, they are more likely to believe it's true, regardless of the actual factual basis. Your brain uses repetition as a shortcut for credibility. And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, they're the news, so of course they have a script. And to them, I say,
And make America great again.
Make America great again. Make America great again. And we will make America great again.
the fact is, you could get people to buy into almost anything through repetition. And if you want to find out just how deep the rabbit hole goes, then check out this video on YouTube. Or you could check out this movie. Oh, and by the way, this video is for entertainment purposes only.
There we go. So y'all let me know in the comments down below. Do you get the point? They're gonna do this over and over again. They're controlled. That's why, like out of all the stories that they covered, why did they cover the dolphin one? Hit dog barks on it. Hit dog barks. And they want to communicate to people that it's not real. Why? Out of all stories. When did the news start covering quote unquote fake stories about dolphins? You got to really sit down with yourself and think about that. Why would they waste their time talking about that? Aren't they bombing Iran and stuff like that currently? Why would they be talking about dolphins? Why would that matter? Gotta think critically.
Hey, check this out.
This is not a play. This is real life, and you can get out. Justine, call me if you need me. Or my cane.
Let's get the money.
Couldn't even sneak off somewhere.
Justina wasn't what it looked like.
There it goes.
We were rehearsing Joan of Arc.
I don't remember Joan of Arc kissing
They split
anybody.
up.
You show me in here where Joan of Arc kisses somebody, then we have no problem.
The question is, why did they change that? What you're looking at is the Cosby Show. In the original version, you see they're talking about Joan of Arc. In the streaming version, it's altered. My question is, why take that out? Why go through the trouble of something that's already pre-taped, pre-recorded, pre-edited? For what reason? Obviously, there's a reason for that, and the question is, how many things do they do that to? They're gonna do it to the Cosby Show. You think they ain't gonna do it to news? You think they're not gonna do it to historical events? Why take the manpower? Why devote that energy to changing something as so simplistic as the Cosby Show? TL Cross caught this, and somebody sent it to me, and it's spot on.
And I'm sending it to everybody.
I have no idea why they would actually edit that and then put it out on streaming services. And how many things are like that? How many things that we see or we notice and we're like, or we call it the Mandela effect, or people call us nuts, or people say we're misremembering, and then they actually are changing things. It's bigger than the Cosby Show, for sure. Let me know if you caught any of these. Let me know if you get any other unusual suspects, because it's obviously happening. Out to the TL Cross, because spot on, great catch. Let me know what you think. It's up.
Are y'all ready? I've been trying to sow some seeds and get my garden right. Got 3 kids, 1 in college and 2 little boys. But anyway, 1960s. Rain. Just like in my other videos, if you look on my post, Paradise shows the day and night, controls. Let's keep it a little suspense in this. What y'all think about the cartoons? All right, we see earthquakes.
We're seeing attempted demon possessions.
Thunder.
You seen that the moon is actually a fake thing and is not supposed to be here. That's what keeps us suppressed as well, and they recycle our memories when we pass and come back. But the sun is where we come from, and the sun got rid of the moon.
Lightning. So we don't hear the thunder. Volcano eruptions. All because he pushed the control Earth button. Level. All in our 1960s cartoons.
People can't help themselves destroying nature. Now you gotta pay for that.
All right.
Let's debunk the Simpsons mystery right.
Park was a military base in Canada where they experimented on and children in a top secret government project called MK Ultra. Then you've got Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park, who was working on a documentary for child trafficking. And he happened to himself in the middle of that production. Same with Avicii and Anthony Bourdain, who were working on it as well. So, do you think that's fate? Or did he know what he was going to do with his fame? Like, do you name your band off of like something that you're going to work on in this world? I don't know. What do you guys think? It's just, that's too weird to say it was just mental health. Like all three of them? Mm-mm.
Think about it. Remember the police officers that seen the tape of, should I say her name? Y'all say it in the comments down below. They seen it. We already covered this. I want to see if y'all are understanding it. They seen a certain somebody that ran for president that didn't get elected, doing stuff to babies on tape, peeling off faces and stuff like that. And the officer started throwing up, and then all of a sudden, all 9 of them started pew-pewing themselves. This is a trend, right? Y'all picking up on the patterns? As soon as they find out something, especially early on, and they know these people were going to tell, because most people are not as bad as we would like to think sometimes. There's a lot of people that do their jobs for the right reasons, and they have the right intentions. And those people were pew-pewed because they're not going to go with the program. You're not going to be able to control everybody. But let's get back to it.
We don't actually die when we die, according to the CIA. Let's talk about it a little bit, because for the past about 2 years now, my hyperfixation / special interest has been...
I see a way I'm lining them up, man. Smash that like button.
Government / military psyops and FOIA logs and all kind of declassified CIA information. Besties, when I tell y'all the more you read, the weirder this fucking universe gets, and the more things don't make sense but also simultaneously make sense, especially if you're energetically attuned and or at all in the sense of the word woo-woo. It makes so much more sense, but it also leaves me with like a billion more questions. So let's just read this fun little snippet and talk about it, because I want to keep this a little 3-minute snippet. Since memory is a function of consciousness and therefore enjoys the same eternal character as the consciousness which accounts for its existence, it must be admitted that when consciousness returns to the absolute, aka the energy of everything that is, it brings with it all the memories it has accumulated through experience in reality. The return of consciousness to the absolute does not imply an extinction of the separate entity which the consciousness organized and sustained in reality. Rather, it suggests a differentiated consciousness which merges with and participates in the universal consciousness and infinity of the absolute, without losing the separate identity and accumulated self-knowledge which its memories confer upon. So when you die, your consciousness just becomes part of the collective universal consciousness, but you retain all of your memories and all of the things that happen throughout your life. It also talks about how we're telepathic, how our brains bounce whenever our heart and our brain are attuned. It also talks about how our breathing and stuff being attuned makes our brains and our hearts basically complete a self-sustaining pleasure feedback loop. And if that gets disturbed, it basically puts us in fight or flight, survival, scarcity, lack mindset, which is where most of us are being forced at right now. Everything is energy and frequency, and they know it. They know we're connected to the Schumann resonance. They know the specific hertz that fuck with specific parts of us, you guys. And it's all connected to the weird patents that they have with all the different sensors and shit in our phones that Sabrina Wallace and Edward Snowden have been talking about this entire time. I cannot stress to y'all how much the government and the military knows about the human body and energy and the way that frequency and all of this manipulation distorts us. They know we don't die. They know what happens in the future. They can predict it with 100% accuracy, it also says in this paper. Project Looking Glass, they know they lose in the end. They know they're distorting all of us and that everything is fake and that it's all a hologram, a simulation. They fucking know. So what are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna use the tools of your oppression as the tools of your liberation, babes?
Me and Gucci had the best match. One price, you can get your bitch back. Niggas, I can fix that. Just burn a cross with the plug, with them sticks at. Get the buzzer, how you niggas ready to zigzag. Hit the rope, get the bag, and I push that. All the time my brother got, he can't get back. But I got pants on touch when he get back. Nigga, God, I'll switch it up. Just in these streets, ain't no giving up. Yeah, I'm thinking nigga give it up. And nigga reach for the chain, I'ma hit him up. Crazy when you see your day one switching up. Crazy when you see the op niggas clicking up. Looking on the whole bitch, you niggas sick and fuck. And never hit him on the back, picking up. Bitch, start sucking nigga dick. Pose for an op, I'm sucking nigga clip. Clip so long that it's poking on my head. If I wasn't taking out, taking nigga, am I really insane? Yeah, bitch, it's true. 6 figures to my name. Yeah, bitch, it's true. And I don't fuck with you. Yeah, bitch, it's true. Fuck what you thought. Fuck what you. I'ma go, nigga need to check out a bitch. I'll pass her to the game, nigga, neck out the bitch. You was texting like you with it, what you scared for? Let me hit it from the back, break the headboard.
There's a 30-page CIA document that is a step-by-step manual on how to actually project secrets of the universe. Now, this is 1983, right in the time for Project Stargate, which allowed these men to remove you, psychically spy into any time period, including the future. And the document also reveals that anybody can do it. It also warns that you might run into not-so-friendly entities. All you have to do is put a pair of headphones and relaxation techniques, and you play one per frequency in one ear and a different hertz frequency in the other ear. And it synchronizes the left and the right side of the brain. It also reveals that reality is just a construct of our minds. Basically, hologram theory. It also reveals that physical matter, there is no physical matter, which this has pretty much been proven with quantum physics. And anybody who doesn't know, we're all just molecules. Everything we touch, that's molecules. Our molecules go into that. Their molecules go back into us. And by quantum mechanics, we shouldn't be able to grasp it. We should be able to walk through a wall. So the way he describes it is that all physical matter is oscillating energy grid over oscillating energy grid orbiting at a very high speed, which is kind of interesting because these 3D holograms that you can touch, that's exactly what it is. It's little tiny beads orbiting at a very high speed, so high that you can touch it. You might be thinking, oh, that's an actual physical ball, though. Well, is it? It's just an oscillating energy grid over oscillating energy grid, and another one that makes up the larger oscillating energy grid. Makes up the giant oscillating energy grid that we live in. It's a little fractal of it. And so the funny thing about this document, page 25 is missing, which of course was the page that revealed how to obtain consciousness, how to obtain absolution, how to obtain God, the forbidden knowledge since the beginning. Missing for 20 years, and they claimed they never had it, and then all of a sudden, like, this stuff possible. Vice magazine prints an article about this mysterious, page 25 note ordeal, and then immediately after, Monroe Institution releases the full report.
The world's second most recognized climate engineer, Dr. Ken Caldera, stating what he did for the DoD was to design methods of spraying pathogens into clouds to infect the populations below.
You could imagine, say, putting pathogens in a cloud, and then would rain down on your enemy.
We know in the outbreak of CV-19, at one point, 85 countries were infected in 3 days. That's indicative of an airborne dispersion. We know from Italian researchers they found CV-19 attached to airborne particulates. We know from our precipitation testing that we have polymer fibers and graphene in our rain. Those two elements are used militarily as biological carrier platforms to carry a pathogen from the clouds to the ground to infect the population below. Why is that in our rain right now? Could they, at any point of their choosing, put something much more lethal into the precipitation and level the playing field? Certainly they could.
I'm watching the movie Anastasia, and I told you guys that the Romanovs and the Rothschilds have beef with each other. You're not going to believe this. They're telling you in the movie that the Rothschilds succeeded the Romanovs. Look, this is where they unite, Anastasia and her grandma, and watch. Pay close attention. Did you see that? Watch. Would you look at that? The red shield, the double-headed wings of the Rothschilds. Look. 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 Okay. Are you seeing it now? They told us right to our face. I'm not.
This is Apple. This is Android. Now, both of these are the prominent two cell phone major distributors in the entire world. They are competitive to the point where we have factions that say, are you Apple or are you Android? Now, what's interesting about both of these logos is I always wondered, I was like, why is Apple with the sign of an apple with a bite taken out of it? And I started to consider, is this representative of taking a bite in the Garden of Eden, where it reflects all the way back to the tree of knowledge of good and evil, where you have this theme that came from the enemy that is put in our face and we won't take it as such. Then we have the Android, which is also reflective of the things that are coming to pass right now. I remember in Dragon Ball Z, where they had a situation where there was Android 17, 16, 18, all of these biomechanical people that could even reproduce human beings. We have a chip that is coming up to where you can have this biometric data embedded into your body or on your forehead, where you will basically become like a machine. Isn't this interesting that we have Android and Apple as our top cell phone distributors, computers, television, and everything regarding technology? Think that's a coincidence?
Elohim are the Anunnaki, and it is their sons born on earth who married the daughters of Adam. Those who from heaven to earth came, they are Elohim in the Bible.
The prophet Daniel in the Old Testament says that he was given a vision by God where he saw the earth, and it was in a destruction and a desolation of the world, in a vision taking him back to an ancient time.
In Hebrew, the verse says Bereshit, which is translated in the beginning. Elohim, God, created the heaven and the earth. How could it be that the story of creation starts with the second letter of the alphabet and not with the first letter, the alpha. If you add the aleph, which may have dropped somewhere along the writings, etc., of the Bible, it becomes not Bereshit, Av Reshit, the father of beginning, created Elohim, the heaven and the earth. So the supreme creator created the Anunnaki, Elohim, the heaven and the earth.
It's getting real. They don't have to tell us what they're doing to our meats no more. Now they're saying that they can put mRNA vaccination shots in our meats now. You know what that means, man. Population control is getting serious, man. You don't believe me? Roll the club.
Lobbyists for the cattlemen and pork associations in several states have confirmed that they will be using the mRNA COVID vaccines on their livestock. Attorney Tom Renz has been warning that there is no law requiring anyone to give informed consent for vaccine food. There are no laws requiring anyone to tell you the food you are buying has been vaxxed with the spike protein clot shot. The UK recently passed into law the Genetic Technology Precision Breeding Bill. The bill amends the Environmental Protection Act of 1990 to exclude references to precision-bred organisms so far as they relate to marketing. Precision-bred organism is another term for gene-edited. So now in the UK, food that's been gene-edited can be legally marketed as non-GMO. And if this UK gene-edited meat makes its way to America, it can be labeled.
It's getting real. They don't have to tell us what they're doing to our meats.
What if I told you that Michelle Obama is hiding a secret more significant than many would realize that literally affects all of us? And I'm not talking about some fringe internet rumors. I'm talking about something that is completely confirmed. Starting in 2009, when the Obamas took presidency, something interesting happened at the White House, which many people wonder the hypocrisy of. Michelle Obama was said to be behind the setup of an organic garden at the White House. And she used it to promote, healthy eating initiatives for kids. And that is literally confirmed. She had an organic vegetable garden. She started in 2009, part of a major healthy eating initiative. So that's what they were eating. But at the same time, these were the people in the White House. These are the people in Monsanto, and here is the overlap where people working at the White House for the government were also lobbying for Monsanto's GMOs to basically take over the food supply. So it's almost like don't get you-know-what on your own supply. For us, we should eat Monsanto's genetically modified food that's banned all over the world. But if you're living in the White House, you got fresh organic vegetables. Now, it's interesting, though. She established a garden on the South Lawn growing organic fruits, vegetables, and herbs for the family first and guests, emphasizing fresh, healthy food. But that's not what the people working in the frickin' government were up to. They wanted the food that's banned in 70 countries around the world that has patented DNA sequences that is owned and controlled. So what the Sam Dam is with that? I will say there's never been a more important time in history to make sure that your DNA is being boosted and rejuvenated and that you're detoxing the crazy chemicals that we're exposed to.
As the FDA, we are responsible for everything Americans consume. So what do we have, guys?
High fructose corn syrup that causes obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer.
Jesus. Approved. Put it on everything.
Fake meat and fast food. So we can distribute a lot of it everywhere.
Is fake meat safe?
I don't fucking know.
Good enough. Approved.
Let's put fluoride in drinking water. It destroy your brain, but it keep your teeth healthy.
You lost me at healthy, but approved.
A cookie made entirely of plastic glue.
What cookie?
An Oreo.
Ooh, approved.
Artificial ice cream gum that never melts, made from a beaver ass.
I love beaver ass. Approved.
Poison in bread called preservatives that keep it, quote unquote, fresher for longer.
You said poison. Approved.
Aspartame that causes dementia, seizures, and strokes. BHT for cosmetics and pharmaceuticals that causes cancer.
We put toxins in medicines and facial creams.
Yes?
Triple X has been approved.
Food dye.
In all the little children's food so they can be hyperactive crackheads. Approved.
Cancer.
Approved.
Magic mushrooms that come entirely from the earth that expands your consciousness and help you grow into your true self.
Is it harmful?
No.
Illegal.
Alcohol that literally ages you, causes cancer, destroys your kidneys, tastes horrible, is the leading death rate in America every single year, destroys your liver, and is a literal drug that kills you from the inside out.
Normalizing, advertising, encouraging, nigga. Let's go out here and destroy our people.
And you know what? The funny part about that is that it seems like how that shit be really going though. Let's be real. They approving everything, man. You know what I'm saying? They like, Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you get an illness, you get an illness, you get an illness.
It's cookie from Whole Foods, right? This is the ingredients. This is the cookie. Watch this. It zaps. So I put pizza in the microwave. No zapping, no nothing.
Heavy metals, anybody? That comes, a lot of that can come from like real cheap ingredients, but that comes from hope, man. Oh man, I ain't gonna lie, I done bust down a few of those cookies, but I detox though, and I'm not eating those cookies anymore. Just make a conscious effort to just do better. I gotta do better, y'all. Them cookies is busting though. I ain't gonna lie, the terrible ingredients, busting, but lesson learned. We should do a test on them and see how many batches have those bad ingredients. Heavy metals.
And
seems to be a trend, huh?
Inhabitants of planet Tiamat, you are a lot more powerful than you have been led to believe. This whole time, your powers have been reduced by toxic metals. Poisons were stitched into your water, your air, and even the food you trust. They dulled your memories, made you forget the songs of your own selves, and hid the shit with change. You must draw them out, purge them, so your body can hold the light that is coming. Only then will you be able to stand in the fire of the great solar flash when the star Nesium will cleanse your blood with the life green, the essence you know as chlorophyll. Let it sweep the heavy metals from their lairs. Take the herbs of your world, sweet wormwood, black walnut, clove, sweep the corridors of your flesh. They will unseat the hidden worms and break their hold. When the guests depart, your own light will take up the space they stole. Walk clean, and the current will find you. Let the lattice of stone that cages your sight be cleared. Breathe this light, and it will soften the shell. Wash it with clean waters. Feed it sun and silence. The pineal gland is the cosmic gateway, your brain's antenna to the higher dimensional realms. When it glows, you receive more than sight. It tunes the mind to the music of the infinite.
I just got off with the Galactic Federation. Every single month, on the 11th of every month, I remote view the Galactic Federation mothership live. And this was completely next level. So they went into a lot of things. It was about an hour and a half recording. And one of the things that they were talking about is that the group called the Collective, otherwise known as the White Hats, are essentially messaging encrypted messages to all of the Illuminati members or the shadow government members. Okay, we're talking celebrities, musicians, politicians, government officials, military, you name it. If they're involved in the shadow government, they are getting a message right now that they will be exposed. You would think that with the Epstein files, that's already a threat in and of itself. but they're taking it to the next level. Now, I don't know if they're getting exposed for being a part of the shadow government and the Illuminati. I don't know if they're going to get exposed in being a reptilian shapeshifter. I don't know if they're going to be exposed in maybe some of the blackmail tapes, like say the Epstein or the Diddy tapes, or other tapes that were created that were not a part of Epstein and Diddy. But essentially, right, we are in the midst of seeing celebrities, musicians, canceling their world tours right now. We're seeing massive, huge CEOs stepping down off of their positions because of these threats that are coming from the white hats. Now, on top of that, the shadow government, in order to combat this situation, they are pushing back and reaching out to their members and saying, we will give you more fame. We're going to give you more money. We are going to give you more power, more control. Whatever they promised initially, they are doubling down their promise. And it is an insane battle that is happening right now. There was another thing about the reptilians and the clones, and I'll just mention one more thing, but please go check out the entire thing. It's season 2026, episode 3, okay? Of the Galactic Federation summits and essentially season of Planet Earth. And so they were saying that they are replacing all of these influential figures with clones, because these influential figures were actually shape-shifting reptilians. And because the frequency is getting to a point where it's so high, the reptilian shape-shifting technology can't exist in that higher frequency. So in order to avoid the reptilians getting exposed for being reptilians, they would rather replace them with clones because the technology can exist in the higher frequency. So crazy.
This is the Collider, okay? I don't understand why they're spending trillions of dollars on this stupid thing. This is the current Collider, LHC, in Switzerland, and now they're going to build a bigger one. And you see how big it is, right? What are they trying to do here? Are they really trying to figure out particle physics? Maybe, maybe not. All right? All right, guys, Jacob Frank. What Jacob Frank tells us is there are different dimensions, okay? And another dimension is Big Brother, who's a friend of his, but he's stuck in his dimension. He's trying to come into our dimension, but he needs our help. So what's CERN particle accelerator trying to do, right? Is it really trying to discover particle physics, or is it really trying to break the dimensions, like they did with the nuclear bomb? You understand? People believe the nuclear bomb, it was really about creating an interdimensional portal for Big Brother to come into. And now people are saying, is it possible the CERN particle accelerator is trying to bring in these interdimensional demons to our world to conquer us, to enslave us? That would make a lot more sense than particle physics, okay, guys?
I just want the bread, keep the peanut butter jelly. She walked to me, I was by the bar, she like hello.
Why are they there?
She rolled up on me, I was rolling up my silver yellow. No, I don't fuck with broccoli from breaking down the elbow. I'm always smoking loud, I can't keep it on the elbow.
What the hell is going on at the Hoover Dam, guys? Why are those statues there? Why are those statues everywhere around the world? Why are those statues the same material? Why do those statues creep everybody out and they're in places that they shouldn't be? Some are in the middle of nowhere. Stop playing with me, son. This video for entertainment purposes only. I'm telling you right now, I'm tired of this. Sir, people are saying that one day that those statues could possibly come alive. Or are they alive? Stop playing with me, son. Just keep my head. Don't call that, sir, because there's no reason for those statues to be there. And it's always like angel statues with wings and things like that, right? Something's going on at the Hoover Dam, guys, that I know nothing about because I'm home. Stop playing with me, son. Just keep my head. Sir, but I tell you one thing. If I'm ever at one of these places and I stare at a statue and it moves, should have never did that.
Hey, think about it though. On a serious note, like the movies, Transformers. Who's in the Hoover Dam? Who's in the Hoover Dam, y'all? Come on now. But look, let's take it even a step further. Let me know in the comments that last thing I just told y'all. but the water. Every time we see a portal on TV shows and movies, what is it? It's water, right? The Hoover Dam creates water, what? Electricity. It's a perfect environment to create a massive amount of energy and manipulate water. Water has what? Intelligence, memories. You think it could create portals, information that it's been holding since the beginning of time. Just let that sink in to think about it a little bit, you know. I'm not a scientist or anything, but if I was, boy, I'd be doing some stuff. Boy, I ain't gonna lie to you. Or am I doing it already and you just don't know about it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below.
Says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria.
Well, I know I can't tell you who it was and what it was, but I can't really tell you. I'd love to tell you actually, but it's not a big deal. But,
it's not something frightening.
No, but I just you know, so obviously it's something that I know about, and it's not a problem.
The Earth, Agartha the inner city persists because there is a small sun positioned at the planet's inner center. That central sun provides continuous illumination, and because it never rises or sets, most of the inner or hollow world remains in perpetual daylight. Night, in the usual sense, never arrives. Sunsets, sunrises, and stars never appear. One exception is mentioned, a limited region of dimness known as the Land of Awful Shadow. Its gloom is described as a localized effect, an area that falls under a fixed shadow cast by the stationary central sun above a particular point of the inner world surface. With daylight effectively unbroken, the account connects the environment to unusual consequences for time and daily life. Time is described as irregular and difficult to standardize. Events become hard to coordinate, and different people can experience time at different speeds depending on perspective. Aging is described as unclear or slow in effect, while basic needs like eating and sleeping still continue. Instead of clocks and calendars, duration is measured in practical units, sleeps. Agartha described as a place that can be engaged through portals, gateways, or frequency-based access points, and the legends claim that access becomes possible when a person's inner state aligns with the required conditions. Rather than emphasizing ordinary travel, the story world emphasizes resonance. When the correct energetic threshold is reached, the individual is said to be able to perceive, enter, or communicate with inner earth layers that exist parallel to the surface. These portals are connected to processes of spiritual transformation, sometimes described as embodiment, initiation, or activation. Human perception is portrayed as expandable through shifts in consciousness that allow contact with parallel continuums. Inner Earth is described as a time-layered field, multiple timelines or bands of existence said to coexist in the same planetary sphere. This as a kind of sliding access between realities, sometimes framed as transharmonic movement, crossing from one layer of the world to another through dimensional interfaces. In the same legendary framing, such openings are believed to have increased in modern times, with the idea that the planetary environment is undergoing shifts that make these interfaces more available.
I'm about to unpack something that is people call reality. It's all fake. This isn't going to be another YouTube video full of vague fluff. This is not a metaphor. This is reality being replaced layer by layer. There are 6 layers, and you've only seen the first one. Reality used to be grounded in direct experience.
Yeah, I heard you good with them soft lips.
Through it.
Yeah, you know word of mouth. The square root of 69 is 8 something, right? Because I've been trying to work it out.
You don't experience events.
Good weed, white wine. I come alive in the nighttime.
Pre-framed interpretations
of ideas. Only thing we have on is the radio.
See, the programming, boy, this video is so layered. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all smash that like button.
The things that we can do in 20 minutes, girl. Say my name, wear it out. It's getting hot, crack a window, air it out. I can get you through a mighty long day. Soon as you go, the text that I already gonna say.
Replaces identity. A political label replaces a human being. You're not living inside of reality. You're living inside of a symbolic layer. Symbols become dominant. Truth becomes optional because truth doesn't need to be accurate anymore. It just needs to be repeatable, emotionally charged, recognizable, and socially important. That is the simulation. Brands figured this out first. Because we don't buy products, we buy a story of ourselves. So that's a word that you hear constantly, brand. And it comes from the Old Norse word brander, and it means to burn. Specifically, it means to burn a permanent mark into livestock. So ownership is obvious, and sorting animals out is easy. You are being branded by advertisers, political narratives. The system knows what you're going to react to, what you're going to defend, what you're going to buy, and who you're going to hate. So layer number one is mediated reality. This is why the world feels off. It feels theatrical, overacted, scripted, predictable. Because it is.
Get ready because the masks are coming off soon. Princess Diana knew. She knew exactly what was going on. Princess Diana spoke the truth about the royals. That's why they organized the car crash in Paris. She literally said they are not human. A little bit later, and she also said they're planning an accident in my car so Charles can marry again. She knew they were not human, and she literally said they're gonna kill me, and yet the whole world did nothing. And you know what happened? She died. And she was telling people back then that they weren't human. So imagine how they thought now. Like now people are waking up, but back then it's like, people, that shit was the craziest thing to hear. The truth is coming out, people.
But it is gonna bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
We're not gonna yell at Howard right now.
That is a warm hoodie.
Yeah, no, it's a thick hoodie. It's a company hoodie. We print.
Remember how they said they'd rather replace the reptilians with clones? Think about that in the beginning of the video. All this stuff matters. This is why I do this. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is just, to me, sometimes it's still mind blowing. Sometimes still gives me chills.
Our mission on the inside.
What? Oh my
really?
God, the inside of the hoodie, everybody. Take a moment. What is it? Making the
world more open and connected.
Oh my God, it's like a secret cult. Look at that, making the world open and connected. Stream graph platform, and this weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati. Oh, 2010.
No, it's 2010.
Oh no.
This is the Lizard from Spider-Man. His former name was Dr. Kirk Connors, and he was a very smart biologist. He lost his arm and began to do reptile research with regeneration. He decided to use the reptile DNA for regeneration and infuse it in himself, thus changing him into a humanoid reptile hybrid, where he became completely primal. He went down into the sewers underground. This is where Spider-Man kicks in and has to figure out how to defeat him. Cold temperatures slow this lizard down, and high-pitched frequencies like bells or supersonic weapons. What happened to all the bells? Interesting. So we see this theme, this pattern. He's fighting something that is reptilian, humanoid, and is primal, and dwells underground, and is real. Now he has to get pictures to confirm that this is real because no one will believe him. Coincidence?
This is serious. They are here. Israelis who were on leave in Dubai are fleeing Iranian missiles and coming to Uganda. But should we be welcoming Israeli war criminals in the country? The genocidal lunatics? I saw one military-age Israeli on social media fleeing Dubai, and they are already a community in one of the posh suburbs of Kampala. I won't show their video because they have their children also living there and enjoying their innocent life, but something is happening. So I want to warn Ugandans two things, especially our politicians and even the foreign investors and business elites in the country. First, these people eat human flesh in odd religious rituals. So be very careful about going to eat at their homes and attending their religious functions. It's documented in the Epstein files. I'm not just creating things. And the reason they are deranged, as has been seen in their genocidal intent videos, is because of eating people. And now they have to pretend to be human when in other societies. All these Wazungu whom everybody feels something is odd about in their behavior, they are most likely Zionists who eat human flesh. And now they're trying to act human again in front of people. You have seen these tech billionaires in America, even people like Trump, even this lady called Erica Kirk, you have heard of her. They are all struggling to appear human in front of people. They are off. There is a cause for that. Humans have become their prey, not their brethren anymore. And they have demonism now affecting their perception of humanity. That is why here in Africa, we immediately kill any lion that has eaten a person. The lion becomes a demon inside. So watch what you eat in the homes of people who regularly eat babies. They can't live with normal society anymore. Secondly, and this is also very important, never go to their disco parties where they bring local prostitutes for entertainment of their guests. They have prepared the venue and put cameras everywhere in multiple locations, from the living rooms to the gardens, the corridors, their guest room, even under the toilet water. You are seeing men peeing and women bringing their goods on the toilet seat. And they're recording you. And whatever you are doing with the prostitutes, then the next day, they will send you a clip of the CCTV footage and start ordering you to do things for Israel for free in your government office, or else they will leak the video to the public. You have all been hearing about the Epstein files that is causing havoc to the ruling class overseas in Europe there. This is exactly how the operation functions, how they conduct it. I am warning you all about it. I've been warning you all about this here. Never forget that blackmail is an official Israeli government military intelligence doctrine. They have sent operatives around the world tasked with this entrapment mission. So be very careful about meeting Israelis, period. And the Ugandans who work for these Israelis must be very vigilant about what these Israelis are doing. Remember that all Israelis are always IDF soldiers first, who are just from slaughtering people in Gaza. And now they come and hide here with all their madness still in their heads. All of them are suffering from dangerous mental psychosis. Even when you see them wearing civilian clothes, you think they are normal. No, they have a dangerous mental psychosis. And that's their own newspaper saying that. Now, I am sure that some good people exist in the community, but remember that the entire Israeli society has been radicalized and indoctrinated from childhood with a lot of bigotry and a lot of violent religious intolerance against other faiths, other races, and other peoples. And if they are already hyper-racist with extreme genocidal xenophobia against a cute Palestinian child in Gaza, imagine what you, the African, are to them. Probably just ugly animals that they just pretend to smile to. If only you could hear just 1 minute of what they say about you behind your back. But if we have dangerous genocidal war criminals in the country, obviously that is not the kind of guest that Uganda wants roaming freely as a deranged monster and predator in the country. I know all of you Ugandans, when you see the white man, you start seeing dollar signs in your eyes and just rush in to get a chance to eat the money. Here you will eat something else and become a stupid demon fast. And others think that Israel they read about the Israelis they see in the news today. Well, this will be the time you will find out what these people truly are once they have you on video. I am saying all this because tomorrow I don't want to go out saying, Lumumba, you knew the danger, but you didn't warn your fellow citizens, even if they are of different faith than you, and you claim you are fasting. What is that? So, Ugandans, you are hereby all forewarned. The danger is here. Thank you.
The genocidal zombies and cannibals are fleeing Israel to hide in Africa.
Damn.
I'm obsessed with etymology because you got to really understand what they're saying with symbols and logos and why are we saying certain things, right? So like husband, does anybody know what husband really means? If you look at Webster's dictionary, right? So Webster's dictionary, he wrote something, it's called the American Dictionary of the English Language. So in that book, the definition of husband, this is the real definition of husband, means cultivator, means builder, means farmer, but it also means clown.
I mean, and that's what a lot of the whole idea of it, they pretty much make the husbands clowns.
So when you really think about it, you're like, wait a minute, why is every husband in every sitcom show the clown? Because if you look at Black's Law Dictionary, if you look at the Webster's Dictionary of the American English Language, the real definitions of things, people have no idea what they're talking about. Like black, if you look into the dictionary that I was talking about, American English Language by Webster, black means to make pale or to bleach. So, you know, human doesn't mean human.
Break that down.
Yeah,
I know where you're going with this.
Okay, human, you're a human being? No, you're not. If you look in Black's Law Dictionary and Noah Webster's American English Language Dictionary, if you look into human, actually means monster. Because they created this word, Homo sapien, man, human, Homo sapien, right? Okay, human is not in the Bible, because in the Bible it says man, mankind, children, that's it, right? There's no human in the Bible. So where did this come from? They legally made this because you're not human because you are human. You're actually a monster because the definition means monster, and I can do whatever to a monster. So I will tell everybody, go get Black's Law Dictionary, go get American Dictionary for the English Language by Noah Webster. Why do we have human resources at jobs? You already know you're human. Nobody's questioning this. That's what I mean.
Human resources. Well, who else is it?
Who else is it? I know I'm a human. You're a human. So
what else would
So
it
you
be?
have to define something else because you're probably different?
We're not ran by human beings.
This is not ran by human beings. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody even bring this up.
Yeah, why is it called human resources?
Yeah, like nobody's ever even talked about this.
But it makes sense now because now you know the real definition.
You gotta read the definitions. You gotta
read between the lines.
Yes.
Exactly. I've been saying this for years, but I mean, I'm not the first one, won't be the last, but we got to keep hitting these points. For real, do your research on these things and really see it and understand why legally they can do certain things. And you're like, why can they do this to us? What are we going to do? It's in the legal jargon. And the words have been twisted and manipulated so that you don't know the true meaning of things. Just like when you go to court and they use all these weird terms and lingos, but then I've been in court for many years, y'all, and you need to understand the legal jargon. And guess what? If you don't understand, they don't give a damn at all. Because they think that you're supposed to know this already. Even though it wasn't taught regularly in school, you're still supposed to know. And that's just crazy by itself. So do you think they care for the things that they do publicly and quote unquote officially, legally, they can do to you because you don't fully understand the words that are being used against you, not to your benefit. That's why they can legally, like, people got to understand, like our birth certificates and our social security numbers, that is all being traded publicly on the stock market. Like, you're a human, guess what? Resource. The human is what? A monster. So legally, they can do whatever to a monster. Think about it. Let's keep going though.
Y'all worship Saturn just as much as the elites do. The difference is they know what they're doing, and you don't. See that black cube on your head at graduation? That's Saturn symbolism. Saturn represents time, discipline, hard work, and material rewards. Sounds good, right? The system inverted this energy into enslavement. They taught you to master a skill, then trapped you where your mastery builds their wealth. You graduate, get a job, now you're stuck. Your degree becomes your imprisonment. Why do you have a master's degree? Why do you work in the field? Why do your boss, which literally means master, control your time? Why do you work for a corporation? From corpus, meaning corpse. Dead body? Why is your pay called a salary? Literally, salt rations for Roman slaves. Why are you human resources instead of human beings? Master, field, boss, corpse, rations, resources. Same language, different plantation. The cube at graduation marked you for the field. The elites aren't worshiping the planet. They inverted Saturn's energy, mastery, time, discipline, and built a system with it. So every time you clock in, every time you celebrate a promotion, every time you sacrifice your time for a paycheck, you're feeding inverted Saturn. You're doing a ritual and calling it success. Saturn should be building your legacy, your empire, your generational wealth through your discipline and mastery. But they flipped it. Convinced you that mastering their curriculum, working their hours, following their structure equals success. So that black cube at graduation, that's a marking ritual. Basically saying, we own your time now. Your Saturn's meant to build your kingdom, not theirs.
Wait, why doesn't Facebook have to pay taxes?
Why does Amazon not have to pay a lot of taxes? Well, why would an extension of the government have to pay taxes to the government? Right. It's the same thing with Facebook, same thing with Google. They're all extensions of the U.S. government. They're CIA money. The whole Facebook movie is a giant lie. It's a propaganda piece. It wasn't like, oh my God, this autistic guy named Mark Zuckerberg just came up with this great idea. No, dude, that was a Pentagon program called LifeLog. You've heard this, right?
No.
You haven't heard this?
I've not heard this one.
You haven't heard about LifeLog?
No.
Okay. LifeLog is a Pentagon program that wants to basically collect all your data for your whole life.
Okay.
All right. So look this up. What day did the government stop the LifeLog project? It's like February, either 9th or 7th or 13th, one of those dates.
When I see someone with powers like you, I think...
Okay, what day is it?
U.S. government specifically.
February 4th. Okay, now...
Whoa. DARPA shut down the LifeLog project February 4th, 2004.
Now do me a favor and look up what day was Facebook registered as a business.
Oh my God. No way, bro.
Shall bide his time.
February 4th, 2004.
The exact same day. They don't even hide it, dude. They didn't even wait a day.
Oops.
Facebook is a government.
It was created by DARPA.
Yeah, and then they handed it to Mark Zuckerberg.
That's just conspiracy, bro. There's no. Wait a minute. What did you Google? Meta Glasses memo about releasing the technology during conflict. That's not real, is it? A leaked internal memo from Meta from 2025 revealed that the company planned to release facial recognition technology for its smart glasses, the Ray-Ban Metas, during a dynamic political environment. Huh. The document suggested while launching many civil society groups, typically critics of such privacy-invasive technology, would have their resources focused on other concerns. Meta acknowledged within the memo that the technology carried safety and privacy risks. Safety and privacy risks. Not even just your privacy, but safety for your people. The memo referred political tumult in the U.S. as a time when, according to the document, critics would be distracted. The goal of the initiative was to add facial recognition to identify people and obtain information. So Black Mirror was onto something, huh? It's almost as if that was part of another project too, to desensitize us for when this occurred, huh? I don't know. A lot of things look that way, but what do I know? These are all just theories, right? So many coincidences, it almost looks like it was planned.
Everything is just a coincidence. Just a big coinky dink. We don't know nothing. We was just looking at videos today, y'all. Don't take none of this stuff serious. I am not suicidal. I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Let me know how y'all feel about this video in the comments down below, man. We always vibing. We always thriving. And you know, guess what, man? We climbing that ladder and we raising our frequencies, man. Together. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to focus on that togetherness because we're in some interesting times when you would probably need your neighbor soon. Speaking of neighbors, I gotta move away from my neighbors. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, bro. Like, I'm in the process of moving again. These mugs is having shootouts over here. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta get out of here. So in the next like few days, y'all, well, maybe a week, y'all gonna see me in a new place. For real. And to caveat to that, you know what I'm saying, I gotta let y'all know that you can't trust all of your neighbors. Not everybody is gonna be on the same level. And I'm a very optimistic person. I have a belief that most people can be rehabilitated and, you know, create a more safe environment for everybody. But, you know, we all learn lessons. And everybody just can't be redeemed. Just like the people that's eating babies and stuff. They cannot come back and act like they're human once again. And I'm the type of person, look, it is what it is. I get people's different beliefs and different beliefs on lives based on their experiences with this earth. But I can say this for a fact, 100% fact. Me and my brother are planning a video together, and I want to do a lie detector for this video for us. And this is gonna be a dope video because I want to let y'all know officially 100%. And I know y'all trust me and y'all be like, oh bro, you don't have to do a lot. I want to do that, not for y'all but for the world, so you can understand the shit that we've seen. It's not fake, it's real. So when people talk about lizards and stuff, we seen it with our own two eyes, and I can tell you that 100%. We seen it when we were kids. Facts. We're not making things up. It's true. It happened. But I get people's reserve about, oh, that can't be real. That can't. I feel you. We wasn't thinking that shit either until we seen it. You know, we talk about it a lot still to this day. And I feel like
no rest from the eternal struggle.
I'll get back to y'all on that in another video. Just wait for that drop. But look, like I always say, spread love because there's too much hate in this world. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next video. And I'm out though. Blah.
Vengeance shall be mine. Straight through them if we must. Us against the world.
No one steals from my feet.
It's not because of this. I think we've just, you know, the economy.
30 seconds. Almost there.
Everyone else in the world? What are you talking about? You fucking idiot.
You chicken.
Yeah, everyone else in the world thought it was like a great thing, but like I was shocked. Like, you know. So our PNN brothers in arms have been blacklisted from Meta as of this morning. I think they got their Instagram page banned, suspended, and they're unable to make any new accounts. Please make sure you're following them.
First to Israel first. Come on, brother. What?
It's crazy. Like, I think there's a huge crackdown happening. So that sucks, but PNN is still up on Twitter. Here's a successful strike, which alleged to have destroyed the Mossad headquarters. I've seen posts like this, like, "Oh, the Mossad headquarters was hit." It's been hit like 4 times now, I think.
Score. 1, 2, 3.
If Iran killed Netanyahu, they will be the most admired nation in the world. Would you agree? Germany's leading business daily gets it. Handelsblatt says Operation Epic Failure. Handelsblatt. Ryan Dawson says Biden gave us Gaza genocide and the war in Ukraine and COVID lockdowns. Trump gave us the war with Iran and continued Biden's policies. No matter who you vote for, you get those, ding, ding, ding overlords. Where's my fucking bell? I need a Ryan Dawson bell. Damn, Trump and Netanyahu bombed demonstrators in Tehran today, and this isn't global news? We need, like, what... We need the military to defect. Like, why are you taking these orders, man? Stop that. Israel suffers meteor-like blast from Iran. Israelis screaming. Oh my God, music to my ears much? Dang, bro. That must have been some Khorram Shar. Y'all got Khorram Shard last night, huh? What's the weather forecast for Tel Aviv this week? Khorram Shar. Looks like it's going to be Khorram Shar Monday through Wednesday, and then from Wednesday to Sunday, it looks like it's just going to be all Fatah. Iran's military warns all regional oil and energy sites with American ties will be destroyed and turned to ashes. Iran obliterate Reaper and show its Pentagon QR codes. Wow. Look at that shit. Gotcha, bitch. Honeywell. Honeywell Security. It's another company to boycott.
Who do you think you want to be today?
Look at all that tax money.
The hand of heaven is here. Show some respect.
I don't want to hear any more rumors about Benjamin Netanyahu's death, guys. I want to hear confirmation. If Netanyahu did really die, though, who the hell will take the reins of U.S. foreign policy? This is a great question. What will we do without our fearless leader? Israeli billionaire Shlomo Kramer. Oh, yeah, we've seen this clip. A lot of these clips, they're just old. Like, why do they recycle them? We've seen that already. This is from Foreign Minister Araghchi of Iran. The U.S. spent months on bullying India into ending oil imports from Russia. Yeah, this is an interesting story. After 2 weeks of war with Iran, White House is now begging the world, including India, to buy Russian crude. Like, don't worry about it. We know we didn't want you to do this, but, it's okay now. Go ahead. Have all the Russian crude that you need.
Pick your hero. Villain, I'm not
Europe
judging.
thought backing a legal war on Iran would win U.S. support against Russia. Pathetic. They are. They really are pathetic. He's so right. Oil windfall gives Russia $150 million a day. Look at that. There's the Prime Minister lighting the menorah.
If this is how the universe ends,
30 seconds before your attack. Get ready. When we're done here, you're welcome to join us back at the Baxter building.
Knew I never
Motherfucker
should have
got
gotten
6
myself
fingers.
here.
Well, let's go. The battle starts in 5, 4.
You know, we really don't know.
2.
I agree with that dude. I want to hear
Back to the
confirmation.
mission area.
I
I need
Universal debt to be paid.
the
And I shall
confirmation.
be the one to balance it.
Where
They have
is
been seen.
Molokowski? His name was Molokowski. Where is he? Yikes. All right. Say his name. Let's hop into Suleiman space, see what they're chatting about. We're going to listen anonymously. Nobody's going to know. We're going to be like a little fly on the wall.
Doing well. Year 2006, the U.S. Combined Arms Center did a study. It's a scathing review of Israel's military capability as compared to Hezbollah. In 2006, 50,000 IDF with the support of jet fighters, tanks, artillery, attacked the Hezbollah. Hezbollah has 3,000 fighters, mostly with light arms and a little bit outdated Katyusha countering them. In the end, the IDF pulled out. It was defeated. So the American military had a scathing review of the IDF's capability. There was a report called We Were Caught Unprepared, written by Matt Matthews in 2006. It's 2000. So from 2006 to now,
Was Ben Gvir
IDF's
hit?
readiness actually declined.
It's a great question. Actually, I saw a picture of Ben Gvir in his most recent press conference. I posted about it. Yeah, I have a lot of reposts I haven't even shown you guys. Where? Here it is. So yeah, here's Itamar Ben Gvir picture here at his most recent press conference. He's looking, you know, pretty healthy. He's lost a little weight. That's right, Ambi. Godsad says he now has to hide his Star of David necklace in public because they want to gay all the jays.
A posh area in Southern California, and as you can see what I'm wearing right here, there were some men that were coming over that seemed to be of a particular persuasion, and so my wife very discreetly went like this.
Oh my God, this is a hate crime. Somebody call the police. Your wife had to hide a necklace. This is a modern day genocide, folks. This is a war crime. Can we call the FBI and the CIA? Give me the president on the line too, please.
States in California and the
Let's keep fighting until we have a winner.
If this is how the universe ends, I shall go down fighting.
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Easy. I'm not ready to rush to judgment.
Why are you glaring at me so, mortal? I find it unnerving.
Just wondering if all the angels are as lovely as you, Shia.
Indeed. And just as deadly as well. So watch your tongue.
Don't gotta worry about me.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Just as I forged a nation, I shall be it.
The mission area is
Be rid of me so easily. We must claim this territory. This area is ours for the taking.
They look like they need
Maximum!
Here could cause massive destruction.
Be rid of me so easily.
Oh, shit!
Just what I needed. Come on!
Let's check this out.
Until we have a winner.
Okay, she's coming.
It shall be mine.
He's here. Oh,
Against the wall.
Maximum.
It shall be long.
I unleash seven. I do this my way.
I got clicked whenever you see me, like my theme song. We fell out and shit my fault. That's why you say back home. Got too hot and missed my fight, cause that paper low. Bro got smoking and made my fight. With him.
Despite my name, I am no angel, as our foes will soon learn.
Let me see this before you attack. Get ready.
You know my weapons can still lock onto you, even when you're invisible.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm here to do is capture the mission area. Got it? You women all are gonna be so sad they missed this.
I can hear them getting closer.
Much better. Oh, let's do this. Capture the mission Oh my goodness.
I have found one of them. Do not allow them to seize control of this place.
Thanks.
Heaven is on my side. I got you covered.
Area. Keep going. Over here. I can help you. Oh. Anyone willing to help?
What of my cars should I drive today? I don't know. So y'all four. Which one of my hoes should I fuck today? You niggas, you know the Listen, no but. My niggas say shit. Whatever you with, whatever you know that my nigga we with. You got your rabies, you white. Rabies, you copying my swag and not life. Nigga over sale. Give him a young nigga won't fail. Nigga say Arabity, nigga, they wild. Never been in the trial. They don't win in them halls, so spitting these niggas, they second like this. Oh, Versace ain't got me a fork. This money ain't never gonna stop. Woke up this morning, then I play the radio. Car should I drive today? I don't know. Y'all born. Which one of my hoes should I fuck today? I don't know. You know, you niggas, whatever you win, we win. Whatever you win, we win. Whatever you win. We pressing no. Let's just sing out. Whatever you win. Whatever we win.
Who do you think you want to be today? Now, I got a message from this match.
I'll stand there next to the mountain, and I chop it down from the edge of my head.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
The hand of heaven is here. Show some respect.
Round one.
I will protect my sister at any cost.
30 seconds before you check.
My
Get
way.
ready.
Ben, am I glad to have you on our side. Back at you, matchstick. Let's get busy.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just say
when the Eternals flooded. Secure my ales.
Judge, jury, executioner.
Behind
Maximum. Yes.
yes,
Only 60 seconds left.
This on yourself.
The current score is 0-0. Time to switch things up, including which side you're on. You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
The hand of heaven is here. Show some respect.
Round 2.
Despite my name, I am no angel.
What is all This is where we strike.